Are you serious? Come check the volcano blowing its top. Well, my friends, it's 9:54. It's a Tuesday. And I'm off to work. Volcano in Russia blowing its top, turning night into day into night. And then they got a warning in Colombia with this big volcano that wiped out a lot of people a long time ago. And it's on the verge of blowing too. And then they were sitting there talking about all the rain and all this other stuff about how that could create earthquakes by the fault lines getting wet, like really wet, and all kinds of good stuff. So right now there are a lot of things that are coming. So one of the other things is that Pastor Paul did a video the other day about all the things that Gil talked about. I forgot when that video was, but that predominantly everything he mentioned is happening right now. Now, the only thing that hasn't happened yet, and that means it's either this year or next year, is the sighting of that comet, dwarf star, planet, whatever we think it is. That's the only thing that's left. So it's either this month or next year this month. So there's the bet. Now, one of the things that's kind of interesting, though, is that he got banned. He was banned for 90 days live, and his channel was given back to him within a week. Probably what ended up happening was they found out that what they banned him for was something stupid. And so he got his channel back. And that's good. But, just like they said a long time ago, volcanoes going off, weird weather, which you're going to say is your fault, global warming, which it isn't. And I sat there and told my girlfriend this today, right before I got ready to come in. I said, you know what the craziest thing about this is? In some ways, I wish I was like around 7 years old again, back when the world was a lot better. And if everybody had been like I lived at that point, the world would be great. Nobody worrying about everybody else's, who's got what, I want that better, all that. But, and this is kind of what happened to me, so up until about the 4th grade, I was living a pretty decent life. But then we moved, and we got to a different side of town, and back in those days, like my sister, she was what they don't call that anymore. They call it, I don't know, what do they call it? Mentally challenged now? I'm not trying to say the wrong thing. But she was called something different back then, and we had a really hard time of living that way because people didn't understand it. They made fun. They did all this. It was a bad time. But if everybody could be like that, or if the world could come together and go, look, we know that these events are coming, but we'll help everybody. We'll give everybody as much food as we can. We'll give you as much shelter as there can be. A lot of this wouldn't be as bad, but they're not going to do that. So, since they're not going to do it, and they only care about themselves, the world's going to be in a real bad spot. But then again, as we say, those bunkers they have are really going to be tombs, so who wants to go there? The crazy thing about this is, and some people have done this, way back when the dreaded C word was a big deal, I went out and bought myself an actual gas mask, and I still have it. I don't have extra filters for it, but I do have it. And they were talking about volcanoes popping off and this and that or whatever, and how you would probably need all this other stuff. So you wouldn't have to deal with the ash from a volcano. Well, I have one. People poo-pooed me for buying it. Oh, you don't need it. And now who knows? So I'm always prepared, okay? Always prepared. Now on the other end of the gamut, Looks like my great schedule that I had for a little while is going to come to an end soon, and I'll be right back to those same old shifts. Getting older, one day off, doesn't work for me. And then to throw me on these semi-night shifts, I'm just so tired by the time the day that's half over that it's hard. And, like I say, with what I have, you have good days, you have bad days, you have semi-mid days. And things have changed a little bit. I can't say they're really for the worse. It's just that, like, I used to be able to sit up in bed and watch a couple videos and go to bed. Now, I have to lay flat, like right away. I can't just sit up. So, I'm just living the way I can. And a lot of my friends, basically, they kind of know what I'm talking about, but they can't live that way every day. I have for almost 50 years. I have my good days. I do things I want to do. But in the back of my mind, I have a switch. And if something goes down, I'm ready for that to happen. So, there's all that. So again, as I said, volcanoes going off, weather weird, all this stuff. Yesterday was around almost 80 degrees here for an April day. That's kind of hot. So, and one of the things that Gil talked about was major rivers drying up, like the Rhine River, stuff like that. You know, the Rhine, the Yangtze, all these other major rivers drying up, and they are, Euphrates, all that. Now, Pastor Paul is talking about going to Holy Land again. I don't know if he's going to get to go there because with all the conflict that's going on right now, I'm not sure that he's going to get to go there. That's what I don't understand. I know that we all have to live our lives and do what we want to do, okay? And if you want to go do something that you really want to do, I understand that. But taking an international trip, knowing that the airspace is not safe to be in, doesn't register with me as to why you would go. Sure, you got to live your life. Sure, you got to do what you got to do. But do you want to risk that, the part of maybe having to deal with something really bad? You know, a conflict with something, or, you know what I mean? Or maybe, volcano goes off, it affects all that. Why would you want to even risk doing all that, knowing that that kind of stuff is going on? It doesn't register to me why you'd want to go do all that. You're safer here for now. Again, I'm going to say this for the 15th time or more that I've done my videos. So, in America, we have a system, alert system, that anyone can go look at to see where we are in the war advancement area. So, it's called DEFCON, and it goes up to 5, I think, and we've never been 5. We've never been there. It's consistently always been 3. Well, when the war with Russia and Ukraine began, it was 3. It went right to 2. But see, a lot of people didn't know what that was, and then videos came out on YouTube, and they talked about it. Go, oh yeah, well, DEFCON 2. That means we're close to this. Well, PTB, powers to be, found that out. Put it right back to 3. Check it today. It's still 3. With all the stuff going on. We have a submarine on the, out there in the sea, right off of the Sea of China. Everybody's doing drills, air, sea, land. DEFCON 2. 3, I mean. Still. Earthquakes. Sometimes they'll register right away what they are. And other times, they'll end up being whatever. But they'll always downsize them. So if a earthquake comes through and it's a 7.3, it could very well end up being a 6.4. And now, when earthquakes register, 6s are not all that high. Predominantly, a higher earthquake is probably more like a 7-something. See what I mean? So, it's just all interesting how everything's changed. USGS likes to hide shit. SOHO, the heliosphere or whatever it is, telescope, that's not always correct. DEFCON level, all of it, because they know the predictive mind, and that was the thing that Mike from around the world said, which I'm going to get into in a minute, was that through AI, and get this, so I happened to mention, I'm forgetting who it was I mentioned someone famous, and we were just talking about that person, and the next thing you know, a big old article shows up on the dreaded FB about him. Why? Because I said it. And it doesn't matter if it's on my feed, it might not be on yours. Girlfriend goes, of course it did. I go, well, yes. Because this phone, even when it's like not on, it's on. That's why the little, like when I'm at work, I have a case with a camera protector, right? So I close the lens there and keep my phone upside down. Now no longer can it see anything I'm doing. Anyway, so Mike from around the world talked about all this stuff, and it's all been happening, and yet there are people that come on here and say he doesn't know anything about what he's talking about. But yet it's all happening. Again, I will tell you this, and I understand this because of the way this platform works. You say the wrong thing, you'll get banned, and then so. But when you have pertinent information that someone should really know, making it pay or not known to just anyone is not cool in my book. But I will say this, and there's enough people that do it that no one's ever going to stop it, but there's a few people out here that do mirror those webinars, even if they held their phone up to it, and now they have it, and then they just rebroadcast it. They easily do that. That's what they do. So even though they're going to have this webinar with Gil and they're not going to be there to talk about it, don't worry about it, because guys like Gil and Mike, they want you to know, so they'll go ahead and just tell you. In fact, there was something going on that they didn't want us to know, and Gil did a video that night with somebody else, and we all found out anyway. So there's that. Because for me, my channel is always free. I've never asked for a donation in the world. The only thing I've ever said, which I always found kind of funny, and this is just a funny gimmick, like somebody gave me $1, $1, or $1 Canadian dollar, or whatever it is. Then I might come on here and do a video and go, oh, hey, thanks to so-and-so for giving me that $1. But that's all. It doesn't matter, because I never started this channel with any kind of pay thing in mind. Not ever. Never did I. So I'm not going to keep do that anyway. I'm just on my way to work. I pop a little video about some stuff I've seen in the news or something else. And then I pretty much do my video. I don't need to get paid. It's pertinent information that everybody should know. And all I ever do is talk about being ready. Have supplies and water and things you need. But since I talked about volcanoes in the beginning, I'll bring up a volcano again. We have a major volcano here that everybody talks about, right? Everybody talks about it. Well, if you guys want to know this, and I've mentioned this a few times, I could take a picture of it and put it in my notes here. But what it shows is, it shows Jellystone and then the fallout zone. And a fallout zone is like a guitar pick, right? So you're not going to know exactly, well, you'll know by the fallout zone what's what. So there's that. You can see by the guitar pick, those shades that aren't in the guitar pick, those are the safe zones, and the ones that are in that pink are bad places. Because you're going to get shards of all kinds of stuff, smoke, this, that, whatever. So it wouldn't be a place to be. So I will say this one more time before I end my video, because I got to eat before I go in. Make sure, always, I'll tell you this too in a little bitty it might be along 15 minutes, might be almost 20. So here's a bit. So the deal is this. Because I found this out myself. So there used to be a little town that I lived in for about a year, almost 6 months. Went there every summer with my grandparents up north in Northern California. Highest pass there is. Great little place. But would I live there now? No. Because all the people that wanted to escape the big cities moved there. There are no real jobs in that town. The closest town, 20 miles away, but you got to drive through deep-ass snow and drop-offs, has jobs. They do it. That highway that used to be like nothing is well-traveled. So you just got to understand that there's a lot of things that are going on. You know, I wouldn't live there, but so my little guideline, again, 100 miles from water, we're about 50, so probably wouldn't be real deep. 1,000 feet up, we're about 6. So it's kind of medium. Probably be some water, but not 80 feet deep. Okay? So you want to be 100 miles off a coastline, up to 1,000 feet up, and you don't want to be in a real populated area. Because then you're going to be dealing with people wanting to take in your stuff. So in a way, it's not going to be a great thing. But they did say that for about 2 weeks, you should be able to see this faint red star. Mike from around the world has said they're going to explain it out as something different. See what I'm saying? So, with all that there, and that being said, food, water, supplies, make sure where you live, and hopefully everything works out. Russian Volcano going off. They're all starting to do it. And you can tell me HAARP all you want, and I'm going to say, I don't believe that for one moment. Peace. I'll be seeing you.